So this one's gonna have to one with the audio.
Oh,
All right.
So
Then video,
Garrett
right,
and
now, and also audio. Being all right on. Cool. Okay. All right, there we go. Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
if you have any more problems. Or you have any problem, go to the information desk. And they will call us on the walkie-talkie and someone will be down there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you send Nora a link or no?
Sorry, forgot to mention,
Yeah. what's
the
up?
microphones. Nobody should accidentally turn them off, the power button's on the bottom,
Right.
but
If they do.
it does have a touch to mute.
That's what I thought.
Okay,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, so that is enabled, so just in case. You see a red light, no audio coming out, someone probably just bumped it, and then if you want to have a private conversation, hit that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, because they said they were gonna try to make it in person, but.
No, that's,
Do you mind just dropping a link to them?
Yeah. I can do
Cause
that.
they just.
so I've recruited two data max for us.
Okay.
Any references? I'm gonna go down there and,
Don't worry,
like the little convenience store.
Ah,
Alex said me to do it, so.
Yeah.
Preferences, snack preferences? Okay, I'll just.
This is everything.
Your computer is locked,
All right, sounds good.
but I can also just do it. That's fine.
Either way.
Yeah. I don't mind. Oh, yeah, no, nor even so.
Yeah.
I don't get there. There's enough seats for all of you all, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's enough seats. Okay.
do you wanna see two, TJ?
No.
Okay.
We would not have enough seats if literally everyone showed up, but that's not gonna happen, so, yeah.
I'll probably move closer.
Yeah.
I should I get
I don't know how to do that. It's my first time reading that.
No, they're, yeah, they're more these tables specifically, so. Too much all at once and that will, all right. Figure things out eventually.
You're ready to lose mine.
Yeah. Love it. Welcome to the party. Hey.
Oh, even? I think that looks even. I hope that looks, no, but definitely isn't even.
Yeah, yeah. That's easy.
Tell me when.
It's one to me. A little off center, but that's
Whatever.
It's better than it was before.
There's something across, right? It looks vaguely professional, huh?
yeah.
Charmingly amateurish, yeah. I mean, honestly, that describes most of our merch too, so. Sure, it's a trailer, okay. Let's go. Stay with it. I can.
He didn't please get me. Said, yeah, I would do it.
I despise them, so I'm like not.
But I don't even know when I'm supposed to be using the gavel. Do I just, is that just call the meeting to order?
Yeah, or recesses, or,
Meeting?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but the,
Or do I gavel after votes too? Do I gavel after everything?
you can, you totally can. If we can find the crap gavel, you absolutely should. Like, honestly, I'm hoping, can't find it because if not, we may be cursed. That'd be terrible. Yeah, it's bad luck. It's to not start our first in-person meeting with crap gavel. Oh, we also have the Maryland flag, so I guess it doesn't matter as much.
We don't have the American flag either.
No.
Is that something we have to have?
No. We usually do have both of them. But I also didn't request them because I thought we were gonna be in a much smaller room. And that wasn't an option in a much smaller room, so. Whatever. Hi, Nora. We are still setting up.
Now they both look off center. Perfect.
Perfect. Perfectly balanced. And also, they're gonna shift whenever we. Great, I thought I mentioned. Yes. Okay,
It does give a different feel though.
yeah,
Like, I feel like we could be a little bit more efficient with an in-person meeting.
it is more efficient. The problem is, show up.
Cause there's not gonna be like. Me randomly talking for the last 10 minutes of.
Or figuring out how to break. We just literally send people out of the room. It's much easier.
Do we have to put name tags out for everyone?
Yeah, I don't know what our name tag is though. Like the gavel base that may not have made it here.
It's okay.
In about like 5-10 minutes or about it.
That's fine. We have people leaving an hour early, so,
Okay.
oh
Oh, I'm doing.
yeah. Yeah, these are tiny, but they will do. As people arrive, if you could let, if the folks who are already here could let people know. We'll leave these names up on the table. You find yours, I'm gonna pass out these placards that are not at all the right size for the name tags, that's okay. They'll do. Not that I even know how to.
You guys at the meetings at the table?
Yeah, you can actually, we have enough seats that you'll be fine. So wherever you like.
I'm not in, by the way, it's for you.
Yeah, that's what in person.
I saw your election message. Did you send those emails or do you still? has
Yeah, they're good.
Done that? Okay,
Yeah.
I just saw those.
Javon has become my click the send button person for. How are you doing now? Has come in, we have names up there. Yeah. That's funny. More efficient way of doing this. I don't know exactly where we're gonna sit, so I'm just making. Grab them, they won't get it. Oh, man. Somebody's for ancient.
Oh.
It's from 2019.
Oh.
Somehow, that went back 5 years ago. I don't know how that. happened. Yeah, that was this is the vice president of financial affairs, Annie, who was then the president the following year. What funny. So yeah. Hi. Oh, great, excellent.
I learned in this.
Yeah, and it is open to the entire building, so even if you're not elected rep or anything, you're welcome to sit in. We should have no seats.
Actually, I would ask.
So you wanna actually like be so joining like this means you get access to like hearings long process and things like that. Do you wanna officially join in capacity? we have special elections throughout the year. If your department or program doesn't have a rep yet, which chances are pretty good things, you know, because more seats are empty than are filled. We also have names and those we have our people staff somewhere. Oh, right there. We have two staff who can fill you in on what we have openings for the committees. We have a lot of openings, so there's a lot of options there. Sure, I'm forgetting something, but those are the two main ways that, like, the main ways to get involved. We have an interest form on the website. This will like join GSG. Click on that and fill it out, and it'll give you a list of ways you can participate. And we then go for you into the right place depending on how you guys are discussing. And you are welcome to enjoy some of the meeting and enjoy it. And even participate in discussion, provided our parliamentarian here has gives the okay. Or on discussion, so yeah.
Whatever you mean.
So today is just one of our regular scheduled monthly assembly meetings. And that's where the elected representatives of the assembly consider issues, vote on things, that sort of stuff. We also have like committee reports are like basically our general what's going on over the month sort of meeting. And then we also have like committee meetings that are outside of the main meeting itself. So that's kind of the default structure. Yeah, and take a seat wherever. We have, I think, a room for 40 people. I don't think 40 people are actually going to show as far as reps go, so we should have time. Basically. Absolutely. And thank you for showing up and being interested. We really appreciate it.
Many different things. I guess this is. First time in person one.
I am going to hand out these.
Yeah. Wait, so what am I doing?
This is putting these on paper.
Oh, putting these on paper.
Yeah. And people can pick up. They were smaller, I could put them on the paper as well. So. There. Yeah. Okay, oh, and you do also going to be so you can share the slides or share the screen when we have 100 slides. Just leave it on mute so we don't have feedback. Whatever you need to do. I'm making it from a way, also making that. You can all do this. Like that. Sorry, 1 minute. Oh, yeah, we bought the assembly building. Which now Right, everyone on Zoom land can hopefully hear us. Let me know if you can't. We are about to get started. And a quick note, these mics all should be on, but if for some reason they're not picking up, there is a little like green red toggle button on the front. So if it shows red, touch it and it'll turn green.
Thank you, Keegan.
Yep.
It's kind of fun. The time is 12:17. Call the meeting to order.
We forgot the bass, all right.
It's all right.
You wanna unmute so people can hear?
It is unmuted.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's sharing the screen, he's muted, so we
Gotcha.
don't have feedback going on, yeah.
Thank you everyone for being here. I know for some it's a stretch, coming from off campus. You're on campus again. Thank you also for being here. This is exciting. Okay, chat so good in here. Thank you all for being here. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be cool. This is gonna be light. As always, my name is Devon Pender, serve as the Vice President of Legislative Affairs. We are the face behind the screens. We're your executive team. Moving into the agenda. We had special elections. We hosted special elections. And they yielded good results. Keegan, do you want to share
Yeah.
a little bit?
So, we had 5 different programs, that we ran special elections for in October. And that was data science, let's see if I can do this from memory, but data science, we had cybersecurity, we had journalism studies, we had, got 3 out of the 5. If any of the others who are new can remind me, otherwise I'll read them out, but, yeah. So to give a little background on how special elections work, and this is important to share with others because a lot of people don't know how this works. So general elections happen once a year, and general elections are in May and they are for the next year, right? That's when we send emails out to absolutely everyone and every program in the school. Special elections are different. We actually only run those when it is requested of us by someone in a program with a vacancy. So if you have, if you're here, presumably you have you are your representative for your program. But if you have colleagues or classmates who are in different programs who are not represented and are interested in having a rep, that's how they do it. They contact us and say, hey, we're interested, please run a special election, and then we do. We actually cannot run special elections without a request. It's actually in our bylaws. So it's not that we're ignoring the other vacant seats. We would love to fill them, but that's how that works. So yes, with that said, we do have, I think most of them are in, I think we had at least one or two of the new folks in here in person. Is that the case or? Yeah, okay. And I think the rest of you all are on Zoom because I realized you had less than 24 hours to actually make it here, and I understand. Yeah.
With it being said that we cannot run a special election without a request, so if some of those vacant programs do request representation, can we then run a special election for those programs after request?
Yeah, basically, so when we get a request, we don't run it immediately, we run monthly, basically, so we'll group them all up and run one a month, essentially. And when I say we, I'm referring to elections committee, you've heard from some of us already. Yeah, so that's how that works. So that's right, so we had PMIS, embedded system, which is PMEM, and then journalism site, so embedded systems was the one I was forgetting. Yeah, so that's that, and with that said, I don't know how you want to handle swearing in of folks who are split in person and online, but I'll leave that up to you all.
We can do.
What we could do, I see the vote and repeated after me, the one who are present in person and the one who's on Zoom, they can say it, but like mute their audio so that we don't have to.
Yeah, you can always use the raised hand emoji. You're supposed to raise your hand while taking the oath, whatever, modern society, modern solutions. Yeah, if we want to do that, then, yeah. So, before you can vote on things, we have to swear you in. And that is what our president will be doing, is swearing you in, reading you an oath, you'll be reciting it back, and then, promising to, not abuse your position, et cetera. So, yeah,
Should we get fired?
yes, we should. Thanks, Madam Chair.
For our newly elected representatives from the special elections, do you mind standing?
And if
Raising
you're,
your right hand.
and do actually use the hand emoji or something on Zoom, you would be so kind.
Can we also share it on the screen so that people who are on Zoom, they're able to see what?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that'll be a fun call.
Do you want to quickly forward that to me so it's the newest email that I know?
You're thinking like the actual oath itself, okay.
Hmm.
Technical difficulties, one moment.
Can I just say, it's like really impressive that like 3 of y'all are here in person.
Yeah, with less than 24 hours notice. Yeah. We were maybe a little premature in asking you to stand up.
Should I?
There we go, yeah,
Oh, I'm not on it now.
all right,
Thank you for your patience.
we'll get there. Can't say make it straight, I don't know. This is also our first in-person meeting of the year, so there are teething problems with technology. There should be.
Do you want me to send?
No, we got it, it's just getting it actually.
I did not forward the original mail because it had a lot of other, that's why I just copied it.
If you could maximize that screen, so it's easier for the folks remotely to see. Thank you. Can everyone in Zoom chat read this, or is it still cut off? Because it looks cut off on my perspective.
You're not sharing that.
It's cut off. Okay.
Also copy paste it into the chat.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Modern solution. Yeah, okay, so rather than try to figure out why in the world it's cutting off half the screen, we're just gonna post it in chat for those of you who follow along.
Those of you in person.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Sorry. I don't know how to use it.
It's all right, we can just, they have it, we can go,
Yeah.
all right.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me the oath of office. In the presence of honored guests and members here assembled, I do solemnly promise and pledge that I will faithfully execute the duties of the Assembly as a program representative of the graduate student government to the best of my knowledge and ability, to commit myself to the student government's code of ethics, further the objectives of this student government, to serve my fellow graduate student community through engagement with my constituents and voting according to the preferences of the constituent body. By the authority vested in me by the graduate student government, I now proclaim you duly installed as program representatives and voting members of the graduate student government assembly. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our new members, and great job to the, elections committee that helped get the word out there, get the message going. So thank you all for the work that you do. Jump back over to the agenda. Moving forward, I call for a motion to move forward with the president's address.
Motion to move forward with the president's address.
Second.
Perfect. Madam President.
Okay,
So, first of all, I'm gonna start with everything that has been happening for the past month, but I want to get into one thing which I'm very happy about. So, kudos to the election committees, firstly, great job. It was a really great election that was happening. And I'm really happy about the fact that we had, so in my program, we had 8 people sort of who run for the elections, which is more than all the other combined together. So I'm very happy, very proud. Just putting it out there. Anyway, so coming back to everything that has been happening, first important thing that I want to discuss is the fee. So since every year we vote on the student fee for the next year, it has already been started. There are various groups that are in the process of finding a proposal which they find suitable for the student fee. And one thing that Reese, who is the undergrad president, mentioned is job opportunities for grad students. So the campus pantry and turps to turps is something that grad students use as much as undergrads, but that is something that we don't pay fee for. With minimal increase in fee, that could actually lead to job opportunities and helping the pantry out because it's going to go in a huge deficit if we don't. So that is something that we're looking forward and trying to work out. The second thing is the old Leonard Town project. So I have been trying to get in touch with Ken to figure out certain details about it, to lessen the price or have certain amenities in old Leonard Town. And I recently had a meeting with Bob and Danielle to discuss it. So I'm looking forward to an email from them to get that work going. Also raised an issue that a few students brought to me about certain things happening on campus that made them feel unsafe. For example, I don't know, racist remarks in front of the building and stuff like that that we saw last year as well. And so I'm trying to get in touch with the on-campus police to get that sorted and see what the procedures are to deal with such students who wreak havoc for the rest of us. I also recently had a meeting with OCSRM who are responsible for or basically help us grad students who are having assistantships like RA shift, TA shift, or GA shifts to inform them of things they are supposed to do as a part of GA-ship, and it's a federal law. It's not something UMD related. They are supposed to conduct themselves in a certain way when sensitive matters like harassment, sexual assault, everything else comes into picture. And a lot of us are not really aware of that because they try to get in touch with a lot of departments, but some departments are not really um, very responsive. So I'm in process of trying to get them connected with each and every department and probably also talk to all of you all. Also combine on some social media posts so that all grad students can hopefully see it as much as at least we have the following on Instagram. And later when it's released, I would also really like you guys to forward it to your constituents so that they are aware of this as well and they can help somebody in need. Coming to the international student fee, I had a meeting with Provost Rice last week, at the end of last week. And we were discussing about what is being done in Big Ten and the international student fee, which was not really present before 2017 in UMD. Since the fee proposals are going, this is something that I was asked to contact Provost Rice for, so I did bring it up with her. She's in process of sending me certain links and other details so that I can further that. Also, a few weeks back, there was a student who anonymously came up to me about the straight advisor relationships that few grad students have because of unsolicited comments, insensitive comments, basically, and that creates not very healthy work environment for them. So that is something that I have been raising with President Pines as well as Provost Rice. And I have been given certain resources which I will be forwarding to that person, of course, but I will also be forwarding it, like I will also keep you guys updated on what goes on with that, because that is something that Provost Rice was feeling very passionate about, that to help out the students, since you need to have a healthy work environment to do something as stressful as being a grad student, basically. One last thing that I'd like to mention, and this was all the heavy stuff, now some cool, nice, chill stuff. We have an upcoming Halloween social, for which our team has worked really hard. And I'm making it compulsory for everyone in this room to be present for it. And you need to drag at least 5 of your friends with you. Also, please spread it across to your constituents, because unfortunately our social media following is really bad. So we need you all to help us relay that information to all students. So if they want, they can be there. There will be food. And it's going to be really spooky and really nice because it's late at night on campus ground, so it's going to be safe. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you all there. But yeah, that was the top priority list of things that I had to mention to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. One thing I do wanna, just share with those that were just newly elected, in case you didn't go over our bylaws and constitution, because as we know, those are very long list of documents to even delicately skim. Anyone feel free to motion, anyone feel free to second the nominate, the motion. And then if you choose to take notes, we encourage you to take notes so that you can send the information back to your program. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us or refer to the Constitution and bylaws. So moving forward, after the president's address, what we have next is the vice president for financial affairs and student fee matters. Is that the whole mouth?
That is the
Right?
whole mouthful.
Your address.
We have another question.
Oh, question.
Motion to ask a question?
That's correct.
Name and program, please.
Brandon Rodriguez Toronto, higher ed representative. You mentioned there's an event, but you didn't mention the date. When is that?
Well, it's Halloween, so 31st.
Oh, on the 30th. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And we are in process. Ria has created really great posters for the Halloween social, so we will be sharing those on our social media and with you all too. So yeah, compulsory to come to dinner.
We have a question for Rose. Rose is in Zoom. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, unless I need to unmute you. There we go. Here go, Rose.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to ask a quick question about the job for campus pantry that you mentioned. Would those be hourly positions or assistantships?
Real quick, Rose.
Name and program.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Rose Yang, Neuroscience and Cognitive Science.
So Reese is yet to send me the details of how we would go about that, because it's in a very initial state, but if it is good enough, then I will be supporting that fee increase. Is why I mentioned the jobs. But whether they will be hourly positions or what will be the, pay that will be there, and how many job opportunities will be there, 1, 2, or N. That is something that will be discussed in an upcoming meeting that I and Mike will have with Reese in the next week. We thought it was this week, but it's the next week. So once we have those details, we will be sharing with the assembly in the next assembly meet.
Any other questions regarding the president's address? Seeing none at this time. Moving forward to the VPFA's address, right after, well, that address will lead right into a fee presentation, which we will have to take action on. So may I call for a motion to move to the VPFA's address?
Motion to move to the BPMA's address.
Second.
Thank you.
Third.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Bailey, they, them, EPFASFN. All right, so, I wanted to give you all a presentation about how the, budget has worked out with the shuttle program, that we ran for international students at the beginning of the year, but I think we're still waiting on numbers, am I wrong, for the vehicle services. So I don't have a complete breakdown of how that went, but basically, we were, UMG offices moved so slow. But basically, for our international shuttle, our sponsors agreed to sponsor $15,500, possibly up to $16,000. The graduate school said that they would give 500 extra if needed. Our expenditures thus far on that have totaled more, $15,690.82. But I do think number one, we do have another charge coming in, but then also I think Stamp has agreed to help reimburse part of that. So a little murky right now. I will, in our next meeting, have answers. Or if not, then I guess I will stage I will invite you all to picket outside of vehicle services, so they give us our numbers. Other than that, the Budget and Finance Committee has been meeting, thanks to all those who have signed up for the committee and those who have come to the meetings. We have funded one student organization already who asked for an amount that was under the $500 threshold that the assembly would need to vote on. The astronomy and physics, I'm gonna take their name, LGBT, no, I think queer students. Organization asked for $300 to fund regular copy hours that they'll be holding, and so the Budget and Finance Committee approved that as part of our, event funding request program. And then, as Devon alluded to, we have another student organization, the College of Education's GSL. Did I get that? What was that? GSO, sorry, Graduate Student Organization, who are requesting over again that $500 limit. So you will hear from Tracy Mathias momentarily from this group. They are requesting $800 for a Halloween family party. So again, the Budget and Finance Committee has provisionally approved this, so we have committed to up to $500, which the Budget and Finance Committee is allowed to do. But for the total amount, that is up to all of you all here and in internet land. So with that, can I introduce Tracy? Okay, great. So Tracy, hello. If there's a mic near you, can we pass one
Pass
down?
that mic,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if the little button is red, push it and it should turn green. But we would love to hear from you, Tracy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Tracy Mathias. I'm a third-year doctoral student in the College of Education. And I'm also the co-coordinator of the Parents Affinity Group that is part of the College of Education's graduate student organization. And so we are hosting a Halloween party for graduate students and their families. This was inspired by my experience as a parent with children at the University of Maryland Center for Young Children almost a decade ago. And I believe it might have been the Graduate Student Government Organization, but I don't remember which entity hosted a Halloween party for families. And at the time, I wasn't a student here, but it created a core memory for me. And now as a student, I'm finding out that there's not a lot of family-friendly activities offered to graduate students here. So I, along with a bunch of other parents in the College of Education, felt like this was a great opportunity to provide a safe, fun, free, enjoyable space for graduate students and their children. And so we have requested funding from numerous offices who have graciously supported our activity. And so this is our final presentation, our final ask for money to make this event a reality. We have promotion out. We're being promoted because we don't have great social media either. So we're being promoted through SEEs, IG Spaces, the Graduate Student Life Office is supporting us, the College of Education is obviously doing some advertising for us, we're soliciting for volunteers, so we're putting everything in place to make next Thursday an amazing experience inside of the Benjamin Building. And so today I come to you to ask you for $800 to help support refreshments, candy, snacks, giveaways, things like that, that will make Halloween a memorable experience for those who are able to attend. We anticipate at least 100 families taking part in this. We've invited the 100 families that are part of the Center for Young Children, for them and their families to come, and then graduate students in general are welcome to attend and bring their kids to participate. We are having spooky story time, we have a costume contest, we're going old school with the Polaroid cameras, so every kid leaves with a picture of themselves in their costume. We have some crafts, so kids will be able to make custom frames for those photos and other activities. So as parents planning this, we really planned it for kids to have a great time and leave with some mementos. So are there any questions for me about this event? It is on Halloween from 4 to 8 p.m. in the Benjamin Building. We have a large room in the basement that we're gonna outfit to look like Halloween. And parking is free after 4 o'clock in lot 1. So as parents, we feel like we thought of everything to make this like a welcoming, safe, fun environment.
If anyone has any questions for Tracy, feel free to, I guess, raise your hand. People in Zoom land, raise your hand, raise your virtual hand. And then just state your name and your program and then ask your question. As I mentioned, this is something we will have to take action on.
Hi, Smith and Ravichandran from the Chemical Physics program. Out of curiosity, I just forgot what the actual budget is for event proposed. I don't remember what that number is.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, so we have $10,000 budgeted for external like event funding requests this year. Again, we have already committed $300, so we have a remaining $9,700 in that fund. And we do allow student groups to ask for up to 10% of that per request. So student groups can ask for up to $1,000.
Hi, can you all hear her, Tracy?
He's like for.
Hi, I'm Nancy, from Public Policy. So I had a question in general with the, do you have a breakdown of like the total cost of food and like stuff like that?
Yes, a very detailed budget was submitted as part of this request. The actual total price of the ideal version of this event ran close to $3,000. We have not solicited $3,000 or anything that will amount to $3,000, so we had to cut our idea down to what is affordable. We're still missing, to be bluntly honest, we're still missing about $200 to make it like the basic reality. So if you all wanted to up our allocation to 1,000, we would be in a perfect position, but I'm also out there asking for $200 from somewhere else too. We're just running out of time, like to the point that University of Maryland is pretty slow about allocating funds. We're running out of time to get more money than what we might get today.
If you want, do you want to email you the budget link that Tracy sent? I was very impressed by how detailed it was. So if the UMD Gmail wants to actually send things, you might be able to see it.
Hi, I'm Smith and Ravichandran from Chemical Physics. Just a motion to up their budget to $1,000.
Motion seconded.
All right, fair enough. To increase it to back to, yeah.
I know I'll be there.
And then you can show up at our event, because it's 8:30, so perfect, one Halloween event to another.
Well, I do want to say this, it's not a question, but I really like what you're doing because I do know Autumn, who was our previous president, she did a lot for, tried to do a lot for grandparents. And we're also trying to like do other things, which I'm not really gonna mention because they're very in initial stage, but I really like what you're doing and like, I'm not surprised that the budget was so well done because, I mean, parents are very good at planning, so take that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Discussion.
Any further questions? Seeing none at this time. We're going to take action at this time and move into discussion. So Tracy and anyone else, the Diamondback, anyone else that is not a representative, we're going to ask if you can step out past the double doors. And then we'll bring you back.
Probably won't be very long.
What was the second set of double doors?
Everybody,
They all just-
offered, but everybody was so much closer.
I
know you know these.
Yeah. You're all the way out, so whatever.
Well, that's what I wanted. Now I want another security.
For our super secret discussion of the thing we apparently all agree. It's true. He's gonna be very quiet until they.
That's what I meant to ask. For those in Zoom, like, do we have a poll or do we already have a poll?
We can talk at that one. Okay, so discussion then. Yeah.
So what initially was proposed is 800. I know we made there was a motion and a second for an increase to 1,000. Is everyone in favor of, let's discuss, Nancy.
Nancy, Public Policy. So I'm curious, like, I'm all for like increasing the rate, but I'm curious, like, if there's an anticipation of other events that will need, like, the other student organizations would ask for funding and like throughout the year. Cause I remember last year we discussed this and it's like kind of being cautious early on in the year of like spending the money, but then also anticipating how many other student organizations would reach out for money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely something to consider. At the same time, it's like late October, so we're most of the way, I mean, I don't know, most of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know how time works, because I'm just in
Week 9,
dissertation land.
Yeah.
What?
Or week 9.
Week 9, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we have had only $300 requested so far. So in my, just whatever my opinion counts for, I feel like we're gonna be fine. I don't recall last spring us getting just like a ton of people. But yeah, I think it's a good question.
Like it. I will also mention that, the way it's set up, we meet 10 months out of the year, out of 12. So we are set up for $1,000 a month. So if one program asks for the max every month, and the thing is, as mentioned, it's only been $300 so far, and this is our third month. So we have a surplus, if you're thinking about it that way, of like $2,000 to work with. So after this, if we did a max amount for this in the 300, then we still have plenty of surplus. So we have in fact been cautious. I mean, by virtue of no one applying, but still.
Quick question, Brandon, Higher Education Department. What happens to the extra money that's left over at the end of the school year? Since this is our 4th or 3rd meeting? So that would mean that we have a surplus of 2,800, 2,700.
Yeah, I mean, it's not budgeted for the month, so basically, if a number of student organizations come like next month or in the spring and ask for it, we can like pay it all. But what does happen, and I think that it happens, I don't know about tons of other years, but I think usually this fund is not totally depleted, and so then that goes into our like surplus balance as an organization, and that surplus balance, number one, it can just sit there, but usually some of it then goes to fund our budget for the next year.
Gotcha, thank you.
Question in the chat.
Good question in chat.
No, not in the chat.
That's Silvana.
Yeah.
Raise your hand.
Silvana?
Hi, Silvana, Anthropology. I worked last year in the event funding requests with the BPFA, and we never ran out of money, and we maybe had like 4 different events, and nobody even like requested above. I think maybe one event did. So I feel pretty confident that like based on previous years that we're not gonna run out of money.
Thank you.
Motion to approve 1,200 is out of pocket or not?
Unfortunately, that's not
That's what I thought.
constitutional.
That's what I thought.
But if we are, yeah, we're having, I should also mention procedurally, so normally we do private, like, private voting, in-person votes are a little different. We actually do not have anonymous voting systems. We do for very important votes. This is not something we would consider very important because it's a hassle, unless people feel strongly about it. But with that said, we can like, not to speak for Devon, no way till he's back, but we can actually move on to a vote if we feel up to.
Yeah, that's done.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, normally, we traditionally had like different colored, like, little flashcards, which is very fancy and all, but I think a raised hand will do probably. And that goes for people in, Zoom chat as well. If you just wanna, like, you can either raise your hand or post it in chat, whatever, as long as we can see it, and count it, I think that's probably fine.
And if we really want to do anonymous voting, we could just, I don't know, everyone has their phone, we could just join Zoom and. be
And we
part
can
of the
set it
poll,
that way,
you know.
but yeah, that's an option, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
We have to,
Are you a paper swap?
We also just,
if you
I
want.
mean, you can do that too.
So what's on the table right now is approving the initial amount of 800. Modification to approve for 1,000 or not approving at all, so no.
Nay, yeah.
So those are the 3 options. Also, Silvana, your hand's still up. That's all. No further discussion?
Hi, y'all, journalism studies. Thank you. So can you clarify just on, I know you said that it's not like voting, are we voting starting at the 1,000?
No, we're gonna, the first vote is going to be for 800. So if we are doing a raise hand vote, we'll say raise your hand if you want to approve the initial amount of 800. And then the second will be modifications for 1,000, and then the last one. Or if you just leave your hand,
I was gonna say, we could, since it was on a motion, we could Robert's rules it and just vote on the motion as amended.
That's
That way we just
Say
go
that.
straight through it.
Yeah.
And if everybody's
That
cool,
fails,
we amend the
we
motion.
got it.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, Rob.
Um,
you can also abstain, like.
yeah,
Yeah, you can also say, no, no.
so actually what I will do is if you don't raise your hand at all, that's going to be the abstain. So I will do a nay vote to raise your hand if you're nay. Cool. Any further discussion? Seeing none at this time. What am I doing?
Yeah, I think we're just doing a hand vote.
Okay, so raise your hand if you are in favor of the motion with amendment?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, of 1,000.
We have a few in the chat, I think we have a majority there. Yeah,
Everyone.
yeah, we have a majority vote. That clears it comfortably. Yeah, just keeping your hand. Yeah.
Everyone, did we get
That's
that?
fine.
Yeah, we have another 4 votes in chat, so,
Did we recorded that?
yeah,
There are individuals that can vote.
that's all right. Yeah. I can abstain. Yeah, we have the majority though.
Okay. That works. So. The amendment of $1,000 was approved.
And then we can.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
I also have to keep that for another.
We didn't.
Those joining us on Zoom, land, feel free to put your hand down at this time. Oliver, was there anyone else out there with you? He had it, you know, Oh, in the back. Oh, good. Nora, is there anything you are raising your hand, or is that just from the previous vote? Okay, cool, thank you. The next 3 things I need to vote there. Probably not fun. That was on the question. I was going to motion to. What's all good. Seeing everyone back.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now that that's over, thank you all. I have to announce that. After voting, we. Oh, sorry, I'm out of control. After voting, we approved the motion with amendment of, what, contributing $1,000 to, the event. Thank you for coming. Feel free to stay if you'd like, it'll be a great time. But we will try to attend as well if we are available. Thank you for extending the invitation to us. Moving forward. May I call for a motion to move to the Director of Operations updates? Awesome, thank you.
All right, I will try to keep it short and sweet, which is a challenge for me as I like to ramble. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Keegan, and I am the Director of Operations. I'm gonna combine a couple of things into this address that's supposed to be 10 minutes. We'll see. So first of all, an update on what I, as Director of Operations, am up to. I've been updating the website. Some of you have sent me headshots and checked your information on the roster. Thank you for those who have. If you haven't, you still can. I'm looking for headshots. I'm looking for you to make sure that your name is spelled correctly and presented correctly and all that. You can check what it looks like under our Meet Our Reps page, under I think it's Who We Are as a tab. I'm also continuing to slowly but surely update various sections of the website. I realize we still have stuff from like 2019 on places. If you have suggestions or areas that you think need in particular improvement, please do let me know. It is very appreciated. I'll also be sending out like an actual like poll or survey to see if folks have more in-depth thoughts. Moving right along, as far as my other business goes, I am, for those of you who are new, one of the co-chairs for the bylaws committee. We had a meeting yesterday and it went great. To back up a little bit, we have every 5 years, it's a mandated in our constitution, review of our constitution and bylaws, where we discuss whether they're working, whether they're clear, whether they reflect the realities of the current organization. And then we review and propose amendments to both of them to be voted on in the spring. that meeting is open to all. You don't have to be a member of the committee to join. If you're interested in those and participating and giving feedback, let us know. We are also open to potentially adding new voting members and non-voting members. So again, if you're interested in a more formal position working with us, please let us know. We do have one short order of business on that topic. Michael here, our VPFA, has been at every meeting so far and has been an active participant. And we've also had one person drop out of the committee because of real life commitments. So we're one member short. So we would like to see if, because this committee is a special committee that requires assembly vote to confirm and also our president to appoint new members. We want to put it to you all to add Michael to the review committee, the bylaws and constitution review committee. So I would like to, well, I can't actually call those, so.
So what's on the table is adding Michael to the bylaws review committee?
Yeah. Or just provide a simple vote.
Okay. Yeah, could I call for a motion to add Michael to the bylaws review committee?
Motion to add Michael to the bylaws committee.
Seconded.
Perfect. Just raise your hands.
Yeah.
Perfect. All that are in favor, raise hands, please. Sure. Remember those names.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happens.
Perfect. So seeing majority, that passes.
Next step is, do you approve Michael joining the committee?
Let me think. Yeah, of course. Yes, I do approve.
I guess I should say along. That is the highlights for my stuff. I'm trying to keep things short. I guess I will say elections committee, we will be starting a new round of special elections, starting next month, early next month. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, so if you have people who are on the fence about maybe wanting to be involved in GSG, now is a good time to prod them into nominating themselves when we're asking us to start a special election. Otherwise, I am gonna try to keep it genuinely within 10 minutes, so I think I'm gonna pass on anything else for now, although I guess the next two sections are me still anyway, but they are different sections, so I'll pass it back to Yvonne for now.
Calling for a motion to move forward to the grad committee discussion.
Motion to move forward to the grad committee discussion.
Third.
Okay. All right.
All we need is an second.
Okay, so the next order of business is, we have two committees to form yet, that are ad hoc committees, not standing committees. I don't know if we're gonna succeed in filling them, because, it's been a bit like pulling teeth lately to get people onto committees, but hopefully we can have some volunteers. So the first one is the grad committee. So grad is an acronym for Graduate Research Appreciation Day. It is one of our two biggest events of the year. The first one being the shuttle service in the summer, but this one is in the spring and is basically a mini conference. Grad students present their research that they are maybe wanting to present at an actual academic conference or get published or what have you, and get feedback. And it's just also a good way to highlight and appreciate what research we are doing as a grad community. Although it is open to everyone, not just grads. Because it's such a big event, I cannot plan it by myself. We in fact also hire a grad committee coordinator temporarily. We do that later in the year. But we do need to start the planning committee now. In fact, we probably should have started earlier, but we've been a little slow to start with some of the committees. So with that said, what we're looking for now is ideally at least two people from the assembly who are willing to help do some planning for graduate research. It's not a huge amount of work other than making sure you actually do show up to the meetings and, provide feedback basically. Because that's really what I need help with is feedback on good ideas. That one person trying to figure out an event of this size I will not think of things that others would. So, with that being said, do I have anyone who might be interested in joining the grad committee? Oh, fantastic. That's one more person that I was hoping would actually, so yeah, we don't actually, I'm the committee chair, so I can just say, hey, welcome aboard, no need to vote. And if anyone else is interested, let me know. But yeah, please do get, I will remember to send out an email. I might ask to remind, some terrible names. So I will probably ask in the GSG chat after this, if you could remind me, I would appreciate that.
Or just invite out.
Or yeah, or just hang tight and I can manually. Yeah, I guess it's true. Yeah, all right, you have the committee. So the three people, one terrible thing, if you could say each go and say your name, so our chief of staff can write you down on the committee list, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll start with you, I guess that works.
It's Gitika Babu from the cybersecurity.
Excellent, thank you.
It's Lakshita Senthil Kumar from data science.
Sloan Lansdale from GBPT.
Thank you.
Huh?
Did you also raise your hand?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I was like,
sorry.
rubbing my eye. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Sure.
Also, if any of your friends or people in your constituents are also interested, they do not need to be a program rep to be a part of this committee. And if they're interested in research or something like this, and they actually want to be a part of planning all of this, please spread the word so that they can also be a part of the committee.
And that's actually a good point and something I should mention. All committees, this is something that not everyone knows, almost all committees, I can't say actually all committees, but almost all committees that we have within GSG are open to any graduate student currently enrolled in good standing. And you can in fact even be a committee chair, so a full member. It's not just like, oh yeah, you can attend the meetings. So if you, for example, have someone in your program that you are the program seat, so they can't run for your seat, at least not until the general election, they can still participate formally in GSG by being part of the committee. And our chief of staff is always happy to connect you with the right committee chair. So yeah, please do spread the word. Okay, we have to put that back to you for the next thing I gotta talk about.
Calling for a motion to move to the governance committee discussion.
Motion to move to the governance committee discussion.
Thank you, seconded. Thank you, fantastic. Don't we all love Robert's rules so much? Okay, so my final thing, I promise, is that we also need to form the governance committee. The governance committee is basically our version of the Supreme Court. It is the committee that rules on the constitutionality of decisions that are being made by the executive team, by the assembly, as well as the team that oversees proposed amendments to the Constitution and the bylaws. And considering the bylaws committee is specifically formed to do both of those things, we also need the governance committee, and we will actually be working very closely with the governance committee. I'm not planning on having us form the governance committee fully today. I don't think that's going to be possible because the governance committee is formed differently than most committees. It has 7 members. It's set at 7 members. It can't go any higher or lower. And still function. 3 of those members are drawn from the assembly. 3 of those members are appointed by the president, and then 1 member is elected by, or voted on and appointed by the executive committee. So, I'm hoping we can get 3 people today. The trick is, those 3 people cannot also be on the bylaws committee, since that would be conflict of interest. So, with that in mind, what we would have to do is we'd have to have people volunteer to, like you actually have to nominate yourself. You give a little brief discussion on, or a brief speech on why you think you're a good fit for the committee. And then we actually do the whole send you out and vote on you sort of thing. I would like to try to get at least those 3 folks today and then have the executive team and Vara come up with the other 4 after the fact. For those other 4, by the way, they can be from the assembly, but they can also be any grad student in good standing. So if you have recommendations for us, please do let us know. We'd love to have them. And that's actually, I take it back, we have 1 person already possibly lined up. So we actually only need 3 more people after the 3 from the assembly. So is there anyone interested in perhaps being part of the governance committee? And if not, that's all right. We can keep discussing it later, but we do need to eventually fill this hopefully before our next meeting.
Anyone via Zoom?
Yeah, and anyone in Zoom land willing to do it.
You also have to be a part of one committee minimum, so if you're not, I think this would be a good chance to.
Can I ask you, please?
Yep.
What is the workload?
It kind of varies. It's gonna be a little higher this time around simply because, you're actually reviewing what bylaws committee does. Usually though, governance committees has a very light workload, because basically, unless someone's getting impeached or there's something like being constitutionally challenged, you're just there in case something happens. This year would be a little bit more, but I think we would probably have, there'd be like a minimum of probably 3 meetings, one to set it up, and then one to review our constitutional review suggestions, and one to review our bylaws review suggestions. Actually, probably 4, because then we'd also want you to like consider the report itself, but that's still less than the typical committee. And those committees meet for an hour to an hour and a half when they do meet, so.
And have charges too.
Yeah, and of course, that all does change if someone gets impeached, then your workload goes up dramatically, but hopefully that doesn't happen.
Can't make any promises.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you think of it and feel like volunteering between now and the next meeting, when I'm hoping to finalize this, that's fine. You can mention it in chat or to contact us directly with more questions. But yeah, we will need that to be operational by the next time we meet. So, if not now, I'll bug you all about it between meetings.
Keegan, question.
Yeah.
Nora asked if you're on the bylaws review committee, you cannot be on the governance committee, is that
Correct.
correct?
Yeah, because that'd be a conflict of interest. I mean, I guess you could, but then you would have to recuse yourself from anything being bylaws related, which would be most of your business.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But you could be there for the, like,
Yes, that would, like, yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
not that I think that should happen, but
I guess like worst case scenario, we could have like 3 people who are also in bylaws committee, be the people we select from the assembly, and then just have 4 folks looking at bylaws stuff, which isn't ideal, but is workable within our constitution. So we can do that route if needed. Yeah.
Any additional discussion?
Right.
Seeing none.
Thank you.
Moving forward, calling for a motion to move to new business.
Motion to move to new business.
Seconded.
Perfect. Thank you. So for new business, we have 1 resolution that came in. The resolution is in favor of the University of Maryland College Park establishing a centralized accommodation fund. I shared the resolution proposal to you. I'm pulling it up as well, and I'm going to pass it over to the author of said piece. Here you go, author.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael, Vice President of Financial Affairs and Student Fee Matters. So yeah, I wrote this resolution because currently graduate students, including those of us who work as graduate assistants, it's kind of like it's a little hairy if you need disability accommodations that cost your department money. The way that the any kind of disability accommodations are funded for graduate students, graduate assistants, let's say, is through your like employer. And so if you're, for instance, if you're working in a lab and that's your DA tip, your like leader of your lab only, has to like pay out of their pocket, out of their budget for your disability accommodations. And if your accommodations, which are, required by US law, cost a lot of money, there's a kind of incentive maybe built in against you. So against retaining student employees, against retaining students who cost money. And so there are students at this university today who are kind of being pushed into leaving their programs because they're expensive. And so this resolution called for the university to establish a centralized accommodations fund, which would basically take the financial responsibility off of like individual employers and put it into a centralized fund that different parts of the university pay into. This is something that's done at other peer institutions. There's at least 3 Big Ten schools, Northwestern Michigan and University of Wisconsin-Madison, that have these kinds of funds. You can read about them in the footnotes. And there also are some, particular grants at the university or someone in, ADS office or otherwise, there are like funding sources outside of asking departments as well that could be applied to. Anyway, so this is something that I basically urge the graduate student government to support. I know that there is, and I can talk about this more if people want, but I know that there is currently an effort with Emily Lucio in the, she's the ADA coordinator for the university. She chairs the committee, I forget the name of it right now, but I can look it up, that is looking into having a kind of centralized ADA fund. This is like not the exact same thing. Maybe this ask is a little bit more rigorous than the one that's currently being worked on, but I do hope that, it's something that we can get behind to support our, disabled colleagues here at Maryland. Thanks.
Is there anything that? Okay, perfect. Discussion. So.
Michael, I think this is a great idea and really addresses a real need at the university level and a responsibility that the university should be taking on. About how much money is either in these other funds or would be provided by NSF? Like what's the financial ask on the university? And especially with the grant, is this a single year grant where we would have to renew the applications frequently, or essentially how much work are we putting on the university to make this work?
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's a great question. I do think that this is kind of a big ask for the university. Again, it's something that the university is already kind of working towards. So I looked up in the meantime, there's the Committee on Disability Planning and Action. This is, I guess, kind of under the president's office. So what they're working on is something, again, slightly less robust than what this resolution is asking for, but basically to fund, ADA, day-to-day kind of ADA expenditures like employee accommodations, and things that are not currently covered by ADS. I guess I'll throw out there too, that ADS does pay for, in classroom accommodations. That's something that like already exists. So if someone needs like an interpreter or a note take, things like this, that is already funded by ADS, but anything that's not outside, like that is outside of classrooms, let's say, is like not currently funded. So yeah, I think what it would be, and again, this is something that, I think is already kind of being looked at. I think it would mean like units or departments to like put into a fund. And so that would be something that would have to be worked out. That said, something similar to this is currently being worked on, and then whatever this committee kind of comes up with, they'll give their recommendations to the president.
Nora?
Hi, this is Nora Jameson from the Epidemiology PhD program. Thank you, Michael, for writing this. This looks really awesome. I wanted to just say a few comments related to, I think this should be UMD's responsibility, because the fact that we don't have this is leading to discrimination against disabled students, which is illegal. That's because the ADA lacks funding to accommodate disabled students, which leads to discrimination. So we have to come up with our own funding. But that being said, it is UMD's responsibility to not discriminate against disabled students. So I highly recommend this bill and think it's a really great starting point.
You know,
Hi, I'm Nancy, Public Policy. I agree, this is a great bill, and I definitely, I'm kind of surprised that we need it, and it's like, I wasn't aware that this was an issue, that they like don't have this, so I'm like, wait, what? But, I was curious, like with this, it sounds like the ADA already wants kind of, like, is already on the track of like wanting to expand this, but I was curious if this would require additional staff to run our, I guess that's more of like UMD's decision to make, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I guess one of the limits of this resolution is that it doesn't have kind of like a detailed plan. It's just telling the university like, hey, do this thing and you all work it out, which I recognize is like maybe more, I don't know, maybe it would be more helpful to like know exactly like what we're asking for. So yeah, I don't know if this would fall under, I don't know if it. Basically, yeah, I think that either this could like become an arm of like ADS, or this would be something that is like under the, I guess like a more broader, like ADA office kind of thing, which again is like pretty small staffed in being Emily. But yeah, no, this is something that would require presumably, some more staff.
Yeah, Keegan, Director of Operations. Michael and I both meet with ADS on a monthly well, semi-monthly basis, I guess. Yeah, I guess it is monthly now. One thing to be aware of, and also why, speaking also as as the co-sponsors of this bill, the reason why we need to be a little vague about it is because there are very strange rules on what money can be spent where when it comes to accommodations. And so honestly, it's well above our pay grade to know those nuances. Like, it seems like even ADS is a little fuzzy on some of them, so they have to do some research. But that's part of the reason why there isn't a specific detailed plan here, is that is something that the university would need to figure out. And it's gonna be unique and different, but that's also why there are included examples of other universities to use as a guideline for the university administration. So just wanted to add that.
I also want to add to that, so I had a meeting with President Pines and Chief of Staff, Michelle Eastman, I think last month, probably, but this was a issue that was brought to their attention, and they seemed very susceptible to the idea of having a common fund in place where, all the departments would be, irrespective of if they're hiring somebody or taking in students with special abilities, irrespective of that, they would have to sort of contribute, so that would sort of remove the, just incentivize them to like, the entire thing that's against or discriminatory towards, especially with students, it would basically be removed, because it wouldn't depend on whether they take in such students, because they have to pay the money, irrespective of that. So they seemed very, susceptible to the idea, and also since, unfortunately, GSG is more of, so it's not like we say something and it's done, it's more of like the suggested capacity that we all know of now. But, since this is something that they are already open to, it would be, comparatively easier to, work with them on this rather than, compared to something else which they are already opposed to. So, yeah, I think this is a great one. Thanks, Mike.
No, that's statement. Yeah.
Everything, thanks, Mike.
Hi, Smriti Ravichandran from the chemical physics program. So first, thank you, Michael, and all the co-sponsors for working on this very important stuff. I did have one question. It says something about possibly funded in part through NSF and or other grants. I was curious about who exactly applies for these grants. So is NSF accepting applications from individual faculty for these plans, or is that like a university thing that NSF approves? So I'll just, yeah, yeah, could you elaborate on that?
Sure, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, a friend put that one in, one of my co-sponsors. But yeah, no, I do know that there are, if I can. Oh, okay, good, I was like, I can pull it up and like talk about it on the fly, but if Keegan knows it off that, I'll pass it over.
I don't know the specifics about this, but I do know how NSF works, and funding that works. So yeah, this would be something that would be in the university's court, and it would be then like, I presumably the ADS staff, or potentially the president's office, I don't know who, depending on who decides to spearhead this, but they would be the ones filing that. We, as an organization, could provide feedback, and I might solicit it from us, but yeah, not our position to be taking, fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it.
So it's like university-wide funding that NSF provides. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
Any further comments, including those in Zoom land? Seeing none at this time, we are going to. We're gonna close.
Yeah.
For those that are not. We don't need. Okay. You say so. So we are. Yeah, you're next, yeah, so. All in favor, we're gonna do this same way, hand vote. All in favor of approving the resolution.
And a quick note, if you have any potential amendments you would like to make, please, that now is the time to do that, because we actually have to vote on amendments too. And the reason why we don't usually, unless it's something sensitive, don't send people out for these, is so that they can address, like the author can address possible amendments, so, yeah.
Any amendments, any suggestions, anything that they wanna change? Okay, seeing none,
Oh, wait, no.
Nora, question.
Are we talking about amendments to this document that Michael's proposing?
Yes.
I suppose if I was going to add anything, would be transparency and following up with this with a timeline. Like we might not know what the next steps are, but transparency in success or goal markers or whatever would be encouraged from the administration, so they don't just take this and disappear. I don't know if it's worth it in this legislation, or if you would just rather write a different legislation asking for like transparency in bill implementations in general. I don't know if it's really, because it doesn't seem very transparent in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Keegan from Director of Operations again, with the nature of resolutions, we could add language like that. They are under absolutely no obligation to honor said language, but we could, or we could, as mentioned, follow this up with a check-in 6 months from now, being like, okay, so has anything happened on this front? We could do another resolution. It's up to everyone here. I don't know if it is worth adding a timeline, because it's a resolution, not an act that we can control. But there could definitely be an argument made for it.
Awesome. And Nora is adding in the chat. I don't know if it's worth adding it, but might be worth, but asking for it later might be helpful. Acknowledging that. Seeing any further discussion? Seeing none at this time. Again, a simple hand vote. Those in favor of passing the resolution
That's right. Yeah.
as written.
As written?
As written. Thank you. The resolution is approved. Congratulations, authors and sponsors. Moving forward. Motion to move forward to the VPLA address.
Motion to move forward to the BPLA event address.
Seconded.
Thank you. I know it says 15 minutes. I'm not going to use all that 15 minutes. The first thing that I do want to discuss is, as most of you know, this is our, as all of you should know, this is our first in-person meeting of the year. We're trying to we're trying different things. So our first two meetings of the year, they were virtual. This meeting is in person. I know we've been getting feedback about people are traveling from off campus, from different areas, from DC, from Baltimore to get to UMD. I know I travel over 40 minutes to get here too. So we're trying to figure out what works effectively in these assembly meetings. And so when we bring in speakers like Dean Roth in the future, President Pines, or other individuals from administration or other campus partners, if you all prefer a Zoom format, that would, we're trying to work in the best way possible. But we still want to be respectful of everyone. So I just want to open up the floor to kind of discuss if y'all have a preference, if we bring food to meetings and allow us to eat during a 12 to 2 block. Because I know even when planning these meetings, Fridays at 12 was the traditional time that we have meetings. So it's always trying to figure out how to how to get max participation from the assembly at the end of the day. So I just want to open it up for feedback, suggestions, ideas. Was today any different for you than coming to meetings virtually? And then there's some people that ultimately skip the first half of the assembly meeting thinking that that's okay. That's really not okay. And then they leave halfway through. So I'm just trying to figure out what we need to do better as an organization to have the participation that we should have.
I just want to add to that, in-person meetings, are great, but they are also a ton of extra work for me, like a monumental amount of extra work, especially with how slow the university is at scheduling things. For example, I placed a reservation for this room over a month ago. It was approved this Wednesday, 2 days ago. So that's the kind of thing I'm dealing with. So one of these things of if we decide to do in person, we can do that. And it's literally in my job description to set up for this, so that's fine. But we would actually need to schedule well in advance and actually stick to it and commit to it. And because it's a lot of extra work, I'd ask that we actually make use of it. Because if everyone's just gonna skip and show up virtually anyway, then let's just do virtual, and it's a whole lot less work for me. I appreciate that because I already I'm honestly way overcommitted as it is. So I am happy to do this, but only if people are actually interested in it. I should also mention a thing that is important about why showing up and then leaving and things like that matters. We have a thing called quorum. It's 1/3 plus 1 of eligible voting members. If we drop below that, the meeting ends. We can't discuss anything. We can't vote on anything. We can't do anything official. So leaving before the end of the meeting or showing up before, after voting has happened, for example, it causes problems. So I understand it's 2-hour block, but we do try to do on Friday because there's usually no classes on Friday. But that's why we're partially asking for feedback on how we can make this easier.
Yeah, and I know I'm preaching to the choir because y'all are the ones that are here, but it's a commitment. Y'all are elected by, we all were in these positions too. So we're elected by our peers to serve in this capacity. So we're just trying to figure out if it's a time issue, if it's we're just trying to figure out what the best thing possible is. So Brandon, I see your hand, but there's Nora, and then Helen also had her hand raised. So I'm gonna go to those two, and then to you, and then Naomi, and then others. Nora.
Hi, Nora, epidemiology PhD program. I mean, oh, where do I start? Zoom is very accessible. That is what it shines at. It makes meetings more accessible, especially meetings in the middle of the day. And so I think if we're really worried about people attending, I think accessibility by making it just virtual all the time would be better. As well, I mean, the fact that you can attend virtually is one thing. The fact that it has closed captioning is another thing. The fact that there is a chat that you can also interact with and make comments on without interrupting is also really cool. So there's a lot of accessibility features on Zoom that you don't get in person. The fact that everyone already has their name in their little Zoom square is really helpful. And it's just like, I find that if we want to make it more accessible to graduate students, making it in person is not the way. If you want to drive engagement through in-person events, I would suggest doing it with food and doing it with music after classes are over. So like a Friday evening, something sort of like that. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Nora. Helen, do you still have question, feedback, suggestions?
Yeah, hi, Helen, entomology department, PhD program. I was basically just gonna say most of what Nora said, primarily that I find a lot of value in in-person meetings. But this time block does make it a little bit difficult. One, because of food, so either if the like time was moved to a different time or if food was allowed to be brought in or provided, that would make things a lot easier. Also for me personally, I generally have class at this exact time from 12 to 2. And so yeah, but that's a very personal issue that I'm sure not everyone else deals with, but primarily I would say the food thing I think is a big hurdle, but otherwise I value in-person meetings. So yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Thank you.
To quickly address part of that, because point well taken, as far as food goes, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Normally, we do have food that is more than chips, although we do still have chips, I think, so, you know. Yeah, that's the thing of, we'd have to kind of convince stuff like this, and maybe at a different time, maybe that works better. But I have to fill catering requests 3 days early, and when I'm getting approval 2 days early, it doesn't work, that math doesn't math. So, if we actually have this be a consistent thing in person, that is very much part of the plan, and it's part of tradition as well. So that part of this.
And it's part of the budget.
And it's part of the budget, yeah, we actually have a budget line item for it historically.
Brandon?
Brandon, higher education rep. I think that in-person meetings are very valuable. I think that we should commit to having all of our sessions in person in the spring semester, so we can get those confirmations out of the way. I know that staff schedules 365 days in advance, and I think it'd be wonderful if we can get on their calendar earlier rather than later. But I do believe that the rest of the fall semester can be productive to keep online.
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome, Devon.
Okay. I also wanted to say that I really like meeting you all and seeing your sad faces because nobody is happy here right now, unless you a smile here or there. But anyway, the point is, so firstly, yes, Zoom has accessibility features like transcripts and stuff like that. But the rest of it, in my very humble opinion, is just convenience. But yeah, we can have Zoom transcripts enabled and have in-person meetings so that we can access that. But then the rest of it is just it's just pros and cons, to be honest. It's nothing else. And the timings we do, my amazing team does try to schedule it at a time where most of the folks are available. But to be very honest, on a Friday evening, I'd rather be hanging out with my friends. So, no offense, but yeah.
Up to two
Yeah,
with lunch.
yeah.
Thank you.
Late after school.
Sloan, I'm gonna Naomi and then Sloan. Naomi?
Yes, it's Naomi from Family Science. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was just echoing what others have said. I do also see the importance of in-person meetings. I know originally when it was scheduled for the 18th, like that was okay, but if a date is moved, that may change people's attendance, like such as mine, because of traveling. Um, but I think hybrid is okay. Like I think this is an okay, I guess, platform to do it. I think the main thing is more so like getting more buy-in and getting people excited and invested about the assembly in general. And I think I don't know what strategies can be done around that. Because I think that would increase us just making people actually feel like a part of the work that's being done, whereas some people may just feel like they're just sitting on the meetings. But I don't know how to like really address that.
Thank you for that, and I apologize, changing the meeting date was on me. So I apologize, but we will try to be a little bit more consistent and firm on the dates. Sloan?
Yeah, Sloan Lansdale, GVPT rep, and I just wanted to express my preference for in-person meetings. I did the all online sessions last year, and just from this one meeting, I felt like we were more focused. We were able to get through much more of the agenda. When we were on Zoom, I felt like the agenda always went over time. We never had time for representative forum. And I just feel like this meeting has been much more effective and engaged. And I really enjoy seeing my fellow representatives, and I think this will allow for greater collaboration, because another thing I noticed is like a lot of the same people are working on bills together, which is great, but if we can foster more groups that are willing to work together and contribute to writing legislation, this in-person meeting, I feel like will facilitate that a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Nancy, Public Policy. So I spent like a year and a half of undergrad on Zoom, so I'm honestly, for every opportunity I can have in person, I really value, but I also understand that, especially on a Friday, and especially like everyone's coming from all over the place. So I would, like, I feel like even like, I mean, especially what Sloan said, it's felt so much more efficient today. And it's just having these organic interactions with everyone is just, I've been waiting for this for a year almost. Like, I feel like it's like, so I feel like maybe it's, maybe having a balance of like hybrid meetings where it's like not every month is in person, but maybe like every other, or maybe a more of an emphasis on having social events outside of assembly meetings and having more opportunities to interact with members. Cause I feel like that's only going to strengthen our interaction and kind of participation in GSG. And like, if people actually know like the people behind the Zoom squares.
That's good. No, oh, you got that.
Oh my God, and me.
So I will add my 2 cents to this. First of all, as far as like meeting times, we can definitely, Devon and I are the two who are scheduling these meetings, and I'm sure we can explore other days or times. It doesn't have to be Fridays, but definitely I feel like a poll or when to meet will be in the future on that. But yeah, definitely open to that. I will say, as far as like greater engagement, that has been like the historic trade-off. This is not a new discussion. Like every government prior to us, basically, since Zoom has been a thing, has had this discussion. I know when I started in GSG in 2022, the pattern of every other month was one of the things that was right. It worked until it didn't, until people just stopped showing up in person, and then we went entirely remote. So that is the thing, we get better attendance with remote, but we get better engagement with in person. And so it's an affordance, it's straight up sort of thing. I will say also that like, we cannot, as an executive team, make you do stuff. So like, we can't make you write legislation. We can help you if you have interest in writing legislation, for example. We can give you pointers and feedback. We can do what we can as far as events go, but like, events often, there's only 5 of us and only 2 of us work 20 hours a week and everyone else works 10 or 5 hours a week. We do not have the bandwidth to do more than what we're currently doing realistically. Traditionally, we've had committees. The kind of the role of committees is to plan events and things like that. So we will happily support that, but we can't be the ones who do it. So if you would like to build community, we will be behind you 100%, and we'll do whatever we can to support you, but it does need to come from the assembly. And also, the way we're structured is we really cannot do anything without the assembly. The assembly is where everything starts. So we can empower you to do that, but we need your help. So yeah.
I was chatting with some folks at SGA, so the Undergraduate Student Government Association, and they were like, wait, your meetings aren't in person? Apparently all their meetings are in person, and like, if people don't attend, they like kick them out, which is like kind of intense. Not saying I support that. I'm not saying I support that, but, no, I mean, I do think, number one is like a nerd who likes to come and work on campus, but like, I like coming in person. But number two, it's like, literally, there are people who have come up to me like prior to us meeting here in person, who are like, oh my gosh, hi, Michael, it's me from GSG. And I'm like, you're a black square, like, I have no idea who you are. And like, it's terrible and I feel bad, but it's also just like, yeah, I don't know who, like, half of the people that I talk to on a monthly basis are, because it's just a square. And if you don't look exactly like your picture, if your hair has changed, like, you don't have a picture, like.
My hair off.
Yeah,
Like, I just don't know who you are, literally. If I didn't know you, Devon, I would not recognize you at all. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I do agree that in a virtual format, there should be a list of expectations, like having cameras on, if you have the ability to have it on. I think that helps create a more engaging atmosphere. I don't know what the camera's turning on. But just in general, I think that it just allows us to have more of that community sense. Like, as you mentioned, having this in-person sense, I feel like this meeting has been a lot more productive. But it may be because I'm not on my couch with my camera off. But also just we're in a place where we're all nodding, agreeing, seeing each other, giggling, etc. Yeah.
I also wanted to add to one of the points that was made about the community building and social events stuff. So we are planning a grad pub that we used to have previously, which will be like, oh, let's go to the pub with the people that you work with. So fun. So yeah, totally looking forward to that.
Probably starting next month, by the way, just for the 2 days.
And GSG will fund the snacks, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
Basically, there will be like 3 things.
We're not buying drinks, we can't, but we might buy some snacks, so.
Yeah.
Appetizers.
Oh, one more thing. So I do understand why like SG does that. It's because they have on-campus housing, so most of them live here. At the same time, I do understand that it's not really possible for us to do that, but then I totally agree with it because I mean, this is not supposed to be fun and games. This is serious job. You have taken a responsibility. So if you have to go the extra mile, you have to go the extra mile. So
Be fun and serious at the same time.
yeah,
Ideally.
Work hard, play hard.
When in person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Mike.
Hi, Mike Gibson, Agricultural and Resource Economics. I also am a fan of in-person meetings, but I think at the time that I campaigned to be a member of this, I wasn't aware of what the meeting structure and time would be. So I think going forward in the next year, it should be made clear to candidates when they run that the expectation is we meet on Fridays at this time. If you're unable to do so, then maybe you can just join the committee, but I think that will alleviate some people's expectations.
Absolutely, thank you for that. So, real quick, last,
Yeah, I just really wanted to second that. I came in on a special elections last year and I had no clue what the time commitment would be. So thankfully it did work out for my schedule, but I would have really appreciated the knowledge beforehand that this is the traditional time and using that to inform my decision to run.
yeah, absolutely, I think. Thank you all for the feedback, I think that's something we, as execs, we as program reps, and the elections committee, now we need to get that language out there. But it always is the next administration, the next executive team that kind of sets that dynamic, but that would be the ideal world.
You can also send in your subs from the same program if you're not able to make it to certain assemblies, so that's also something, so that we have quorum and we can like do something productive.
Yeah, on that note, that's the last thing I wanna say. Just acknowledging Marwa's message. That if you do not, if you can't make 12 to 2 in person, virtual, in any format, please, please, please do send a proxy in your place from your program. They will still have representation, voting rights, and so you're still serving as the rep, but there's still someone doing the work of your program at the end of the day. So if there's ever a conflict, please use that as the alternative. It's not something that, as Michael said, we don't try to penalize anyone for not showing, but it's part of the responsibility. So please rely on having a proxy. If you know that you can't make either an in-person or a virtual meeting, just always have a backup. Go ahead, yeah. I just wanna.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I know, it's like we're going well on time and then everyone talks, which I love. But anyway, I just also wanted to say that one of the things that in person gives us the opportunity to do a little bit is like have more folks who aren't in GSG kind of attend the meetings. Like we actually have in the office, and I like dragged it out, like this kind of like placard thing that gets put in the lounge that's like, there's the GSG Assembly meeting today. God knows when they printed it, but I like stuck a little paper on it that was like, stamp lobby, and like, you know, put it in there. So it's like, I think one of the other things that this can do besides increase engagement, like amongst GSG representatives, is to maybe like get other folks involved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you all for this feedback. If you want to provide more feedback, y'all know where to reach me. And then just use our G chat too, if you ever want to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is moving forward, come spring, can we do? Because in my mind, I want to do a May meeting in person so we could end off the year with a big boom and have food, have that excitement. But even leading up to that, if we want to do every other, if I don't know who said it, if we want to do all of the spring, and that might be a controversial opinion, but just having that ability to voice that rather than just going along with what we think or what works for us, because at the end of the day, we're working together for this. So again, if you have any other comments around that, please communicate that. Yeah, we're just gonna move forward. Alan, if you have any.
Yeah.
further, feel free to just.
Hello. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, can you just message us or throw it into the chat if there's anything we're moving forward at this time?
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Going into the announcements real quick that I do want to make. I met with Naomi Cohen from Curbs Vote. I left information that you all should bring back to your program in the back corner on that table, all the way in the corner right behind Tracy. There's bookmarks, there's stickers, there's information about voting. That's important information that you all should bring as we're winding down to November 5th. Please, please, please bring that back to your programs. One other announcement that I want to make, or two other announcements. The graduate school is in the process of hiring a new position. They will be doing an internal search, but they're going to hire an associate dean for graduate student success. So when that person joins, possibly in the spring, the graduate schools team, that's going to be someone that works for graduate students, works for us. So just keep that on your radar. And then the last thing that I want to share with you all is that Dean Roth is doing a with me real quick. Dean Roth is doing an open forum with the University Career Center on November 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. It's going to be held via Zoom. I will share the Zoom link with you all. But it basically representatives from the graduate school and the University Career Center will present an overview of the career services and resources that they have available for us. So feel free to join and share that with your programs. That is all that I have now. And I want to, any discussion, any conversations about that? Michael.
The last open forum the graduate school had, like 2 people attended, including myself. I jumped in like 15 minutes late because I had a meeting that was canceled, and it was embarrassing. Not on our side, I think on the graduate school side, it was pretty embarrassing. There was no one there. So yeah, I don't know, maybe this will get more people, I'm not sure, but also, I don't know, I also just editorial comment that the graduate school had open forums last year, and now they're having open forums around extremely limited topics, which is interesting. That's cool.
Brandon.
If we can relate to the graduate school, I think that it'd be more impactful to have these types of events in person. I like to attend these types of events, but I refuse to attend it because it's virtual.
This last one was hybrid and no one showed up in person.
What?
Literally, it was hybrid. I showed up on Zoom, there was no one there in person.
Yeah, sorry. No.
That's good to know.
Nothing from chemical physics. So was this the one on community engagement? Yeah, I mean, if they host an open forum about, where I can go talk about how housing is bad or stuff like graduate student stipends are bad, I'd gladly go, but community engagement, I mean, yeah, I mean, they're sort of limiting you to a corner and say, this is the only thing you can talk about, so I'm not gonna come. So whatever.
Not that open of a
Yeah.
I was out of town.
I think that's important to, so it's not just for reps, it's also for other students who might want to talk about this, and the fact that those students don't know, and it's our responsibility to relay this information to them is an important thing that you need to keep in mind as reps. That not all students know about these things happening on campus, and you have the privilege to know of these things. So you should keep yourself, that, hey, I need to send this to my class students, something like that.
Nancy.
Nancy, public policy. Just I guess for this event, like the open house and then all the events we've talked about today, are there pre-existing graphics for this? Because I find that's like really helpful just to send in my constituent group chat thing.
So for this one that I just mentioned, I never seen a graphic. I can reach out to the Career Center to see if they have something for us, or even the graduate school. I would assume Dean Roth has it in the pathways, but we haven't seen that. But we can see if there's at least flyers. As far as like our events that we host, we make sure that there's flyers, but everything else outside the information will certainly try to see if there's flyers.
As far as like official graphics and like, Our library of assets is fairly limited, but we do have both our official seal and our logo. And we can, if you would like to send something on behalf of GSG to your constituents, and you would like to use the official seal or logo, that's fine, let me know, and I will send you a variety of file sizes and types, so.
Yeah. Just a comment to everyone. So the open forums, they are on Pathways newsletters, which is the grad school's newsletters, and then those are also patched into the grad student lives newsletters, which I know everyone who is an enrolled graduate student does get. So if you are looking for them, they have the verbiage there. As far as a graphic, it doesn't look like they do have a graphic, so it's just the word blurb and the links for the Zoom if you can't make it in person.
Awesome, thank you. I see it as 2:01. And we haven't gotten to representative forum, so I'm going to open the floor, see if anyone wants to motion to extend the assembly meeting at 2:05 to at least allow 4 minutes of representative forum. If there's anything that you still want to talk about after that, we can address, I'll be here, and I'm sure some of my executive.
We're here until 2:30.
Yeah, but, so I'm going to open it. If anyone feels obligated to share anything in this space, I can, if anyone wants to make a motion to extend the meeting to 2:05, or we can just adjourn the meeting. Those are the two calls on the table.
Motion to adjourn?
All right.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned at 2:02.
Thanks everyone, do plan.
Thank you.
Recording and.
Oh, please take some of the information from Terps vote